Tonight on the Northwestern News Report, demanding action on gun safety, why Northwestern students are walking out in light of recent violence.
And hopping into the season, we look into how Northwestern students and Evanston residents are celebrating Easter.
And finally, how a local senior center is giving patients with Parkinson's disease the chance to bring out their dancing shoes.
All that and more tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news right now. Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Max Rothfeder.
And I'm Michaela Denault.
We have a lot of stories to get to tonight, and after the show, stick around for the Associated Student Government Town Hall. It will be co-moderated by our team at the Northwestern News Network and the Daily Northwestern. The two candidates running as co-presidents on the ticket will be discussing campus issues. Be sure to tune in at 8 p.m.
Northwestern students are joining the nationwide call for gun control. The call comes after a school shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville, killing 6 people at the end of March. It was the second mass shooting on school property in the United States since the start of 2023. The Gun Violence Archive defines a mass shooting as one that kills or injures 3 or more people. NNN's Maria Heim brings us to the demands for change on campus.
The number 152 has been bothering me all week.
That number, the amount of rounds the Covenant School gunmen fired during the attack in Nashville. NU students demand action, leading Northwestern students in a walkout Wednesday afternoon, calling for efforts to control gun violence.
There's the national school walkouts that were going on after what happened in Nashville, Tennessee. By Monday of that week, there had already been another school shooting.
75% of Generation Z reported the threat of school shootings as significant stress, according to the American Psychological Association.
It's just ultimately personal safety, everyone deserves to feel safe wherever they are.
Gun violence is now the leading cause of death for children and teens in America, according to the CDC. There have been 146 mass shootings in 2023 as of April 10th, with 3 or more people shot.
I come from a Texas high school, so a lot of protests like these were very limited. I thought it would just be great to be a part of something as big as this because student advocacy is so important.
Mirabella Johnson, a rally co-lead, urging attendees to pull out their phones and contact local leaders and lawmakers with their concerns.
For students to see, I can pull out my phone and I can text Fed Up to 64433, or I can text students to 64433, and I can see how I can get involved, see what's going on right now.
Presenting that there is power in the people.
I think it was very important for us to get a voice and for us to hear more information about this and see what we can do to make a change.
Continuing to raise their voices to inspire change. Maria Heim, Northwestern News Network.
NU students demand action will hold another rally at The Rock this Friday at 11 a.m. They're asking that universities across America not invest their endowment money in the gun industry or its associates.
Northwestern joins 15 universities by participating in the STARS College Network, an initiative to help rural students enroll in selective institutions. The program helps prepare students from rural areas or small towns for college life and academics, expands admissions staff visits to high schools and rural communities, and helps students navigate both the admissions and financial aid processes. The STARS programming is free for all those who enroll. And last Tuesday, organizers from Mayfest Productions released an op-ed in the Daily Northwestern briefly explaining its financial struggles while putting on Dillo Day this year. The Mayfest team saying production costs rose by 60% and they only received 13% of the funding from senior administration that they did last year. Their ability to continue to put on Dillo Day is reliant on funding from both the Associated Student Government and additional sources. The future of Dillo Day will be a topic at tonight's ASG Town Hall.
Evanston is working with experts to create the future of commerce in the city with an economic plan. I turned the page of one report to see what's next for Evanston businesses. Consulting group Interface Studio fulfilling its $245,000 contract to evaluate the state of Evanston retail with the city of Evanston in late March. Their draft plan, known as the Evanston Thrives Retail Action Plan, reimagines Evanston business districts.
Councilmember Kelly has also recommended a small business funding source that would basically shore up and actually build up some of these existing grants.
Madison Grace Boutique opened 2 years ago. Owner Angelica DaCosta submitted her input to the draft plan. One of her major concerns, grant requirements.
I'm maybe not eligible because of the stipulations. So I like to see maybe like more clarity with that.
Key findings include streamlining processes and data tools, equitably distributing resources to businesses, and improving communication with the city and business owners.
What the plan has said is, listen, you have some of the tools in place, you just need to better communicate.
Another key insight, transforming Fountain Square and hosting more events, including moving the Evanston Farmers Market. Artem pop-up gallery owner says this would be a game changer.
If they have it at Fountain Square, oh my God, there would be nothing like that.
Economic Development Manager Paul Zalmazak hopes this plan makes Evanston stand out.
What again is labeled as placemaking in our business districts, because that is what is going to differentiate us from either other business districts in the region, like in Chicago.
Ensuring Evanston growth through economic support. The edits will be finalized by tomorrow, noon at the latest, for the final draft before City Council meets to review and make changes as well. They hope to make it a 2-year work plan to align with the tenure of the current City Council.
In other city news, the city says its new strategy to control the rat population is working. The city has 2 rat inspectors on its payroll. They were added 6 months ago. Those inspectors respond to complaints about improper garbage storage, which is a big attraction for rats. The city is also stressing that composting needs to be done in a tamper-proof container or kept off the ground.
We've had a number of properties where, they're very proud of their composting, but it turns out that it's just, something they made at home with some chicken wire around the outside of it, which makes that's a Thanksgiving feast for rats right there.
If you see a rat or see a property with exposed garbage, call 311. You can do it anonymously. The city says ticketing is a last resort for them. An inspector would first ask the property owner to clean the space. And coming up, 1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep, according to the CDC. We take a look at how one app is looking to change that.
And Evanston kids had an excellent weekend. A look into an Easter event and the search for sweet treats.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
NU's Holocaust Educational Foundation hosting a screening of The Amazing Life of Margot Hoyman last Thursday. NNN's Louis Castaneda brings us how this story may be the only one of its kind.
A 15-year-old girl finding love in one of history's darkest of times. The Amazing Life of Margot Hoyman, a documentary play recounting the conversations between late Holocaust survivor Margot Hoyman and Dr. Anna Haikoa.
Story of the first and probably the only one lesbian Holocaust survivor.
It wasn't until Hoyman met Haikoa, a queer woman, that she felt ready to tell her story.
She also was a teenager in love. It's a coming of age story. It's a queer coming of age story.
Her story, commonly told as one of friendship, actually a romance.
History is not cast in stone. It is always the job of a new generation of historians to tell it from a different point of view.
And the screening at NU wasn't what some expected.
You would expect this sort of thing to be very sad and gloomy.
Instead,
there was something really fascinating and playful and full of life and joy and love.
Dr. Sarah Cushman, director of the Holocaust Foundation Center, is teaching a Northwestern class on gender, race, and the Holocaust. She brought the screening to NU to
try to help students understand that both of these things are going on at the same time.
Cushman says it's important to highlight how victims resisted with joy in spite of hardships.
One of the things that the Nazis tried to do was to dehumanize the people that they were targeting.
For Hoyman, that joy was found in her girlfriend.
An amazing person. I really wish I'd met her.
Hoyman passed away last year.
But then when I see this, I think she's living on.
Being remembered through the play and by Haikova as a mischievous, tenacious, headstrong survivor. Luis Castañeda, Northwestern News Network.
Thank you, Louis, for that important story. For more discussions and sessions about the Holocaust, visit the Holocaust Education Foundation Center at Northwestern's website.
Northwestern partnered with an app that tells you how much debt you have, and we're not talking about money. NNN's Caitlin Bender-Thomas has more on the tool developed by 2 Northwestern alumni that tells you when you should get some shut-eye.
I think Northwestern students, we have the tendency to just not sleep.
60% of college students have poor sleep quality, according to the CDC. NU alums Jeff Kahn and Leon Sasson launching their app Rise in 2020 to maximize productivity by tracking sleep debt and potential energy throughout the day.
We have really simplified the approach to sleep by basically saying, here's the amount of sleep you yourself need. Here's how much you're getting each night. Here's that difference.
And that difference is your sleep debt. As you can see, I have 11 hours of sleep I need to catch up on. So each night the app will notify me when it's time to wind down and hit the hay.
Sleep is really a pillar of one's overall well-being.
Lack of sleep can reduce learning ability by up to 40%, according to the National Institute of Health. Meyer, who has been using the app since last summer, says he often recommends it to students.
As a student, obviously it's very important to ensure that you're retaining information, you're being able to then perform well academically or in your extracurriculars.
Communications second year Kayla Cohen says she has been using Rise for about 3 weeks and has already noticed a difference.
It's been pretty helpful in my mood and how I've been feeling each day.
With nearly 2 million users and growing, clinical professor Dan Brown helped with the product design and says its beginnings trace right back to NU.
Rise Science actually started on this board back here.
Building better sleeping patterns, one download at a time.
Caitlin joins us in the studio now. Caitlin, what are some ways Rise is different from other sleep apps?
Yeah, so Rise collects data from each individual user's phone and it uses that data to calculate their individual sleep need as well as tell them when their energy will peak and dip throughout the day.
And how can Northwestern students use Rise?
Yeah, so Northwestern students can access the app by visiting risescience.com/Northwestern, and there they will find that they get 4 years of free access by using their Northwestern email.
Thank you so much, Caitlin.
The Muslim Cultural Student Association teamed up with the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life and Student Affairs to host an iftar banquet open to all. NNN's Paris Francois spoke with attendees of the community event.
Hundreds gathering for the Wildcat Iftar in Norris last Wednesday. An interfaith event, community members break their daily fast together during Ramadan.
It feels like one of my home family parties.
Ramadan celebrates the revelation of the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, and fasting is an important part of observance.
This idea of purifying the self, thinking about what does it mean to really better yourself in every way.
The fast is first broken with water and dates, followed by prayers and a meal.
Islam is so diverse. With that, there are a lot of different ethnic foods.
The Wildcat Iftar isn't just for Muslim students, welcoming those from all religious backgrounds.
It's an opportunity for them to experience Ramadan with their Muslim friends, and be able to break fast with them.
For campus religious leaders, interfaith events are essential to college spiritual life.
We hold different beliefs and practices, and we don't gather in spite of that, we gather because of that.
And students agree.
For people who didn't grow up around Islam, can be really important to really open their eyes to the culture that surrounds it.
Religious events help students continue their practice and find community while away from home.
When I'm eating in the dining hall, like see a Muslim, it's always nice just to pray with them, talk with them, just hang out with them, do religious things and not religious things with them.
Creating space for Muslim students to share their culture and celebrate Ramadan. Paris Francois, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Paris. For students looking for more ways to celebrate Ramadan, students break fast in Foster Walker Complex and pray in Parks Hall each night.
Evanston children and their parents celebrated Easter at the Ladd Arboretum's annual egg hunt over the holiday weekend. NNN's Simone Garber joined the egg hunters on the grass.
Is everybody ready? Yeah! Set, go!
Off they go. Children scatter in search of 528 wooden eggs spread out across the ground, soaking up sunshine and Easter festivities at Evanston's Ecology Center on Saturday.
He had fun. Yeah. Got like 10 eggs.
For Sylvia's 18-month-old son, this is his first time at the egg hunt. With his friend Saoirse's seal of approval, the two might make it a yearly tradition.
This is, yes, our first year, hopefully, of many.
The Ecology Center hosting its annual egg hunt for over a decade. It focuses on sustainability and the outdoors.
It's got a nature trail, and it's a good place for families to get out and kind of get introduced to nature.
Kids weren't the only ones who came prepared. Some parents perked up at the chance to sport new headgear.
We've been over here before, so we are mostly here just to enjoy the egg hunt today.
There was a lot of competition for these eggs, but one of the most sought after prizes was a larger golden egg that many determined egg hunters were ready to find.
I don't think it's been found. It's like literally nowhere.
Taking home the coveted prize, Macalo Jones. His favorite thing about Easter?
All the candy.
In nature and with family, eggs can be enjoyed by all ages, whether picked up or thrown. Simone Garber, Northwestern News Network.
Good job.
Thanks, Simone. The Ecology Center is hosting an Earth Day celebration on Saturday, April 22nd. After the break, how Northwestern's Fusion Dance Company jumps into their spring showcase.
Today felt like the true first day of spring in Evanston, but will it stay warm? I'll have your forecast after the break.
My narrative since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
Northwestern hosting the first of its 2 Wildcat Days yesterday, welcoming regular decision admitted students and their families to campus. Wildcat Days, a one-day campus visit program, offers the chance to explore Northwestern's campus, interact with academic offices, and meet future classmates. The event drawing over 900 visitors to campus, including both students who have already committed to joining the class of 27 and those still undecided.
Wildcat Days, we came here and they gave us like a little introduction to the school, and they gave us all like obviously lanyards and bags and free shirts, which is cool. It's really just been an experience so that we can really get a feel for the campus and like the people, and it's been really exciting.
There will be one more Wildcat Days event next Monday, April 17th.
The class of 2027 certainly lucked out with the weather for their visit. Kunjal Bastola is here for a look at the rest of this week's weather. So Kunjal, are the warm temperatures here to stay?
Thanks, Max. It might be time to put those winter jackets away, Northwestern, as the weather looks to be heating up this week. Wednesday looks to be pretty sunny with temperatures high in the high 70s and wind speeds at about 18 miles per hour. Thursday follows a similar pattern with warm temperatures during the day and wind speeds at 13 miles per hour. So perhaps it's time to get that picnic blanket out or take a little stroll by the Lakeville. Expect little to no precipitation through Friday, perfect weather to study outside, but prepare for a potential thunderstorm and scattered showers throughout the weekend, as there is a 50% chance of rain on Saturday and a 45% chance on Sunday. Temperatures will decrease slightly over the weekend as Saturday looks to be about 63 degrees and Sunday dips to as low as 53 degrees during the day and 39 at night. So I take it back. Keep those jackets out in case, because you might need them by the end of the week. There's one potential plus side to our crazy Evanston weather. Maybe the gnats won't come out this year. Well, we can only hope. And that's all we have for the weather this week. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kunjal. You know, there's really nothing better than the 60s in Evanston. I'm certainly hoping that this warmer weather will stick around and we can all stay dry.
Fusion Dance Company is a Northwestern hip-hop dance group inspired by many different dance styles. And Ann's Alicia Tang brings us to their spring show, Out of Focus.
Northwestern's Fusion Dance Group, performing in their spring showcase over the weekend, one of their biggest shows of the year.
Other performance groups will start preparing in winter and then do something in winter, but this is like our entire winter spent on this in the beginning of spring.
The group rehearsed in tech for 4.5 hours each night for the 4 nights leading up to the show.
Rehearsals are good, definitely really tiring, a lot of time, but again, I think they'll be worth it.
The theme Out of Focus combines dreams and nightmares.
Some of our pieces are more like on the intense side, some of them are more like ethereal.
And more than just the dancing shows off the theme.
Good. I feel like the lighting really added to it and enhanced the dreamier/nightmare part of it.
The show featuring 10 choreographed pieces and guest performances from K-Dance, Diva, Graffiti, and Thunk Acapella. Bakamiro, a guest performer in Diva, says she was happy to hear the audience chanting for her group.
Normally that'll happen at our shows or like a specific like cultural show, but because it wasn't like our specific show, it really did take us by surprise.
Fusion hopes their show
makes her wildest dreams come true in a sense.
Being out of focus, in focus. Alicia Tang, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Alicia. For a showcase recap, check Fusion out on Instagram at FusionDanceCo_NU. Fusion will be competing soon at the Prelude Midwest Dance Competition.
The Associated Student Government is hosting elections this week. Only one ticket made the ballot, with current ASG Vice President Donovan Cusack and ASG's Officer of Accountability Molly Whalen running as unopposed co-presidents. Another ticket attempted to run but missed the signature deadline. But were students even aware of these ASG elections? Well, we sent out our Jonas Blum out to the Rock yesterday to see if the cats know we're in election season.
I'm Jonas Blum down at The Rock, and we're asking students whether they know when the ASG election is. Will they, will they not? Let's find out. Do you know when the ASG elections are?
I should, but I don't. I do not.
Okay. No. Absolutely no idea.
I think you can vote right now? No? I know I just nominated somebody, I think.
No.
Okay.
I feel like they haven't
They haven't happened yet.
I don't
Are they
think
in May?
happened.
I can't say I do.
I do not.
Hell no.
Thanks, Jonas. Now, we do want to note that this was only a small portion of the student body, but that piece did include every student who agreed to an interview. Voting in the ASG elections begins this Thursday and will go through Saturday. Coming up, how one local senior center is turning on the music to help patients with Parkinson's break out their dance moves. We'll have all that and more after the break.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
Welcome back. Up next, we bring you Under the Microscope, where we take a look at the latest science news from Northwestern's campus. First up, Northwestern scientists discover a new way to treat advanced melanoma by using adoptive cell therapy. Adoptive cell therapy is when cells are transferred into a patient from either the patient themselves or another individual. The scientists found it is possible to isolate tumors attack cells non-invasively from blood rather than from tumors directly. This opens more doors for adoptive cell therapy to treat more cancer types and makes it a more viable option for hospitals. A new $3 million grant from the National Center for Special Education Research, led by NU Associate Professor Megan Roberts, seeks to speed up autism diagnoses in Illinois. The grant aims to improve access to evaluations with a virtual option, a larger pool of qualified providers, and placing emphasis on supporting underserved communities. We'll have more on the latest innovation from NU in the coming weeks.
In a crosstown in Evanston, the Levy Senior Center is giving Parkinson's disease patients new hope, and Inen Stravia-Punt sees why they are busting a move.
Stretching, shaking, and tapping. Dancing Through Parkinson's instructor Julia Schaefer leads 7 dancers through a tactile warm-up.
When they have the shakes or like involuntary muscle movement, dancing is good release for that.
Parkinson's disease, or PD, is a degenerative brain disorder. As it progresses, patients experience uncontrollable movements called tremors.
My hands wobble like that sometimes.
Schaefer became involved with PD dance therapy in college, offering to teach classes at local support groups after moving to Chicago and starting this program at the Levy Center this January.
Community and of movement and how it brought people together and how healing it was for people.
These classes are also an exercise in research. Doctors say this type of movement can help with Parkinson's symptoms.
It's a big player in helping patients with Parkinson's move and preserve their overall functioning.
Exercising releases growth factors, molecules that repair neurons in the brain. Experts say dancing also improves balance, motor skills, and mental health.
There's a socialization aspect to it as well.
Schaefer values accessibility, offering seated modifications for patients with more severe symptoms.
Isolated movement in the body.
For participants, movement is healing.
I really love to have any excuse to move, especially to music.
Grooving towards a solution, one step at a time. Shravya-Punt, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Shravya. The Levy Center also submitted a request for a grant from the Parkinson's Foundation. They're hoping to expand from monthly to weekly classes. Max, what a great story. I'd love to see them dance. I wish I could join them. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not much of a dancer myself, but it certainly looked like a lot of fun. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight.
Thanks for joining us this evening on the Northwestern News Report.
Be sure to stay tuned for the ASG Town Hall, which will be live at 8 p.m.
It's your opportunity to hear from the future co-presidents on the issues important to students.
I'm Max Rothfeder.
And I'm Michaela Denault. Have a good night.